So, Eric, can you introduce yourself? Tell our listeners who you are and what you do.
Well, I work for Wright Water Engineers. I work as a GIS analyst. Wright Water Engineers covers the spectrum with regards to water engineering, from water resources engineering through design and even environmental issues that are related to water. Wright Water has a branch that is called Wright Paleohydrological Institute, and our founder and his wife, Ken Wright and Ruth Wright, they have made it their mission to study ancient sites that used water, and Machu Picchu is one of the most famous, and they were instrumental in working at that site and working with the country of Peru and other archaeological societies to get its international historical status.
Well, that's exciting. Now, who are your customers today? What kinds of people do you work with?
A wide variety of clients, from ski areas, beer brewers, municipalities that need water, that have wastewater needs. In addition, we also work with development and the construction and building infrastructure.
Now, I understand with all the CAD design kinds of work you do and the GIS work that you do that you rely on computers a lot. And I understand that right now Debbie and Phil Bush of CMIT Solutions are working with you. Why did you decide to use CMIT over all the other computer consultants out there?
Phil and Debbie really helped us scrutinize what our needs were, as well as looked at all the alternatives and spent a lot of time with us right up front, giving us ideas, looking at different options, and really getting to know the company so that they could accurately help us based on what we were actually doing, not what maybe they think we were doing.
Well, let's talk about some of the things that CMIT did with you, because, boy, they've done a lot. Better backups, new networks, security, spam, better uptime, remote access. That's a lot of different things. The first thing they started with was better backups, and I have to tell you that I have done probably over 100 interviews with technology service provider customers, and almost every time they tell me that backup systems that they thought were running well turned out to not be running so well. Is that what you discovered as well?
Yes, I think mainly because we're not professional computer folks. We're told to run backups. We think we're running our backups. Could we verify that we were running our backups? I asked the question. They asked it of me. Neither one of us could really give a definitive answer. With this solution that we have now, we know. And we're told if we don't have a good backup. You know, we have clients that we've worked with for decades, literally. And recently, we had a client that came in that we built a water system for in the early 70s. And they've outgrown it and want to augment and replace and rehabilitate some of the areas within it. And now we have all of that scanned in, even though those drawings were done by hand back in the 70s. And if we didn't have the ability to go back and get those and look at not only how they were designed, but then how they were built and the differences, we wouldn't be able to service the customers properly.
Now, as I understand, they also really kind of rebuilt your network, which made your computers run faster. I know that you work with a lot of really large programs that may take a while to load. Before, when you were running your network and it was running slowly, how long might it take one of these programs to open up and run on your computer?
It could take quite a while. For instance, I use GIS, and we use large aerial imagery that can sometimes be 30, 40 gigabytes in size. And, you know, there would be times that I would wait 30 seconds to a minute and a half for an image to appear, or if I've refreshed the screen, those types of things.
Wow. And how many times a day might you have to do that waiting?
Oh, I mean, I could work on a dozen to a couple dozen maps a day. So it really mounts up where I'm waiting for that processing time to get that data in front of me.
So if we had to pick a ballpark figure, I just wanted to do the math here a little bit. If we had to pick a ballpark figure of how many minutes a day you think you might be waiting, how many minutes a day might that be?
On average, I'd probably do about a couple dozen maps. I may wait a minute and a half, 2 on each map.
So maybe 25 minutes a day?
Yeah.
Is a fair statement? And how many people like you do you have in your company?
Of us really heavy users, right now we have 5.
Right. So that means among you, the 5 of you, that's 125 minutes a day. And if we multiply that times 250 days, then we're up to 31,250 minutes. And if we divide that by 60, then we're down to 520 hours. And if we divide that by 40, we're up to 13 weeks. 13 weeks. That's That's like one quarter of one of your salaries. I don't know what engineers make, but I'm guessing that you've got to be well over 60, 70, 80,000. But if it was just 60,000, that'd be $15,000 of savings just on this one thing of speeding up the network.
Absolutely.
Wow. You know, I think the thing is that when people do this, they don't notice it because it's happening 1 minute at a time. But when you accumulate those over time, I mean, just for you, it could be a half an hour a day that you are spending waiting. And that really has an impact. So when they sped up your network, I mean, how fast do they open up now?
They're quite a bit faster. I mean, they've helped us rehabilitate the computers on the end, as well as put in a gigabit network, actual infrastructure, helped us get a contractor to do the wiring for that, as well as put in faster switches, those types of things. So now it can be instantaneous to 15 seconds. Kind of feel like I'm spoiled.
Oh. Well, that's okay. That's okay. It's good to be spoiled sometimes because that makes you much more effective in what you're doing. Now, I understand also that they beefed up security, and boy, in this era of terrorists and everything else, I can see that the kind of data that you have that deal with water utilities and so forth would be incredibly crucial to make sure that this data is protected and nobody can get to the plans of the waterworks, for example. So what have you done to really beef up that for your customers?
We implemented a firewall device that they recommended, which has created that barrier between the outside world and our servers so that our stuff is protected and that we are providing the best possible security for our clients from that manner. In addition, they've worked to prevent spam as well as providing us antivirus software so that we make sure that we're not allowing anyone else to get in and disrupt our system that way.
Now, spam is another sneaky kind of thief because it comes in little bits and pieces. What do you think your company was probably averaging before they put in the spam protection? What do you suppose people might average a day in spam?
Oh, across the board it varied widely, but I'd probably say across the whole company of 35 people, we probably had 50 spam emails a day.
So if we do that again, if we got 50 spam emails, how long do you think the people might spend on that, getting rid of that spam?
Oh, I don't know. I'd say probably, sorting through it all and looking at everything, I think probably people spend 4 or 5 minutes a piece.
So if we said 5 minutes and we multiply that times 35 people, then that's again 175 minutes a day. If we multiply that times 250 days, we end up with 43,750 minutes. And so 43,750 divided by 60 gives us 729 hours. And that equals 18 weeks. And so if we take the 13 weeks from the network savings and the 18 weeks from the spam savings, we've got 31 weeks of savings just on these two things. I mean, pretty soon we'll have a whole person.
Right, a full-time employee for a year.
Right, from just those improvements that they've made. Now, they've also improved to be proactive with their Marathon service. Can you tell me a little bit about how Marathon works for you and why you feel that's a good investment?
Well, I think it's helping in ways that we can't help ourselves, mainly because we're trying to get engineering work and get it out the door and make money from that standpoint, as opposed to having time to spend on making sure all of our updates have run, making sure that all those little error messages are dealt with, and that if programs aren't working properly, somebody else kind of has our back, so to speak, in light of that. In addition to the, verification of our backups. And one of the biggest things for us, especially working with these large data sets, is, I can fill up a server faster than you can blink. So they've really helped us in setting plans for when we need to start adding more data to our servers and to our network, just by watching how much we eat up every single month.
So they're able to give you reports that you can monitor and be proactive so that you don't run into the wall and have things crash before you can fix them.
Right.
So in many cases they don't even need to disrupt your work. They're able to do this remotely or perhaps at night when you guys are not working?
Exactly.
Wow.
Which saves us quite a bit, because when we were doing it in-house, the people that were helping us with the computers worked here, and most of the time we would have to stop work to reboot servers or fix problems.
So you actually had two people out of work, the people that were working to help on the computer and the person that was trying to work on that computer, so you were down two.
Exactly.
Right. Well, the last thing that they did, and it seems to me with people that travel all over the world, as your engineers do, that remote access would be really important. And have they been able to improve that capability for you guys?
Yes, I mean, it was virtually non-existent. When I came here, I knew it was a possibility. I'd had other jobs, and it was something that I wanted to give everybody here, and that was one of our major goals when we did this, as well as all the rest we've talked about. And it's made an enormous difference because now most of the engineers have transferred away from desktops to laptops, and they have the ability to not only work here at the office, but if they go home and they need to finish something, or if one of their clients gets a hold of them via phone and emails them, they get email on their phone and they can respond to that email right then, right there.
Great. Tell me a little bit, just turning to Phil and Debbie, what do they like to work with?
Debbie and Phil are wonderful. The best quality that they provide is their sincerity to help you out and figure out what your best solution is. With Wright Water, that was tricky because we have a lot of people that are power users. We have a lot of people that are on the go. You know, we're engineers. We're hard to work with. Our file system looks like a Dewey Decimal nightmare because we categorize stuff to the nth degree. So they were able to come in and they adapted really well to our needs, and they were able to provide us exactly what we wanted. And the company's been so happy that we're kind of moving forward, I think, earlier than I even suspected, into the next phase and the next phase, which include connecting our remote offices to our main servers here in Denver.
How responsive are they? I mean, do they get to your problems quickly?
They do. They're very responsive. When we have a problem, it's literally a phone call away, and with the integration of Marathon, they can log right into the computers, have someone replicate a problem, or just come in and fix it.
Right. Now, many technology service providers can fix computers, but they're really not very good at giving strategic business advice. In other words, really understanding your business, looking to the future, and coming to you with suggestions and things that are going to improve your business and your bottom line, rather than being just reactive and giving you what you want. How good are Debbie and Phil when it comes to that kind of strategic business advice?
Oh, I think they're very good. I think their ability to really find out what we're about, what our goals are, what kind of software we use, the compatibility of that software, and where we plan to go with different types of software, gives them the ability that when we tell them we need an engineer's computer, they have an idea exactly of what they will spec out for that. In addition, they keep up with us on, I'd say, a monthly, if not a weekly, depending on the month, basis, checking in on things and seeing exactly where we're headed, which is why I think everyone's been so happy here. Where computers used to be the nightmare of the office, now they aren't talked about, and I think that's probably the biggest pat on the back for Phil and Debbie that you can have in an office, is when the computers are a non-issue.
Right. A lot of IT service providers like to think that they're going to be, or they say that they're going to be your partners in business. It sounds to me like maybe Debbie and Phil really are.
No, I believe so. I mean, they know everyone in the office. They've taken an active role within our office where they know everybody from the CEO and the president all the way down to our admin staff, our receptionist, me, all the people that sit next to me. They know everyone.
Well, Eric, thank you so much for being with us today, and good luck to you in your company. It sounds like you do some really exciting work, and can't wait to see what you're up to next.
All right. Well, thank you so much.